Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 41 of Speak On It, the Dirk Nowitzki episode. If you're looking over my left shoulder, it might look like your right shoulder, but that's the only 41 that matters on this planet, the Great Swish 41. I am your host, Danny Ocean.
Like, what is the point of even mentioning another name? This is episode, you said 41, right?
41.
Dirk Nowitzki.
It's the Dirk episode. There's nothing better. I'm hyped.
Let them know who you are again, man. Let them know who you are.
I'm your host, Danny Ocean, as always, joined by the smoothest man on the planet, Losty Mix. How you living, baby?
Hey, people, you already know. When you hear and or see this Nas fade, it can only be one brother, the good brother, Los D Mix. Here, if you can see me, these are brand new glasses, by the way. These are brand new glasses.
You looking fresh.
I'm trying to get a little spunky. So these are brand new glasses. I'm here. I'm blessed as always. Danny, it's always a pleasure being here with you. I'm ready to speak on it. Like when we came here and we was, even when I jumped into the stream, we was doing like some of the pre-pro, like just chit chatting. I didn't want to talk about sports because I'm ready to speak on some things. College football playoff committee, I'm on y'all's ass today. I'm on y'all's ass today.
Okay. You fired up. It sounds like you disagree with what's happening in these college playoff football streets, and that's okay because that's what we're here to do.
Before I get into it, how about what do you think? What do you think, or what did you think of conference championship week?
I think like most of America, we were just here to see Bama, Georgia. Like I watched OK State Baylor. That was an excellent game. That came down to the last play, literally. I watched maybe 3 snaps of Pitt Wake Forest, and I was like, you know what? I'm good here. And then I watched a little bit of the Cincinnati game. That it was what it was. But yeah, I think America
it was a game for a little bit though. Like it was.
Yeah, it was
competitive.
Like it went to halftime, and I was like, "Oh boy, it's getting real spooky in Cincinnati." But they pulled it out again. I think we're all here for Georgia, Bama.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think that's where we're leading? Actually, before we even get into that, people, let's go over what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to speak on today. As you can see, we're going to get into a little bit of the college football playoff now that we know the matchups. We're gonna get our thoughts on the matchups and our thoughts on the Final Four and if there were anyone who was snubbed. We're also gonna get into the Patriots Bills matchup from yesterday. I don't want to brag. I don't want to brag, but I kind of want to brag when I kind of in our preseason rankings was like cooking in the Patriot cooking oil because I told y'all. This team will be good. You can't. Bill Belichick will not coach 2 bad teams 2 years in a row.
You did say that.
They thought I was lying.
I thought you were lying, but talk your cash.
And then of course we're gonna talk a little bit about Dame Lillard and potentially partnering with Ben Simmons. And of course, people, we will towards later into the show get into our weekly fantasy football chat. As you guys all know, me and Danny are in a league. And Danny, I could start off by talking a little bit of cash. I've been mad reserved in talking cash money over the last, let's just say month about my team and our league because like it's been a 2-pack of ass. But it's starting to figure itself out. And it's the perfect timing because a week ago you was on your high. I was
close. I was real close to making the playoffs. But I dug a hole that was too deep to get out of.
We're gonna get into it later though. Let's start off with the college football playoff though. So we know the matchups are here. We got Alabama, We got Michigan, we got Georgia, Cincinnati are all in. So before we get into Bama versus Cincinnati and Michigan versus Georgia. Let's get into this Final Four, right? We got Bama, Michigan, Georgia, Cincinnati. What were your thoughts on this Final Four? And who do you think was a bigger snub? Notre Dame or Baylor?
So I think the Final Four is correct. Notre Dame, you can shut up because you lost to Cincinnati in South Bend. You don't play in the conference championship game. Oh, this is being an independent comes back to bite you in the ass. You didn't play this weekend, so we don't care about you. And you lost to Cincinnati. I don't know. You guys got to 5, whatever. Baylor played in the Big 12. They have 2 losses, right? Baylor had 2 losses. They have 1 loss. 2 losses. You can't have 2 losses in the Big 12 and then have your hand out for an invitation. The only team from the Big 12 that had a shot was Oklahoma State, and that's only if they would have throttled Baylor and made a real statement. But the Final Four is correct. Notre Dame, shut up, join the conference, play on championship Saturday so America can see you, and then maybe not lose to a team that's already in there.
Okay, I hear you. Before I get into my answer, John in the comments, first off, thanks for showing up. Thanks for pulling up. Thanks for showing love. We'll get into your question about your lineup real soon after I give my thoughts here on this college football playoff. I think this, I'm going to be honest with you, I think this Final Four is wrong.
Really?
Let me start by saying this. Okay, so the 2 teams who have been number 1 this college football season have been Bama and Georgia, right? Right? Bama and Georgia. Okay.
Bama,
when Bama was number 1 for most of the season, well, first 6-7 weeks of the season, everyone was like, Georgia's good, but we all know Bama is them. Like, Bama is the team to beat. Bama is the team. Like, Bama's the number 1 team. Then they go to Kyle Field and lose against a very good Texas A&M team from a very good side of the SEC. Hold that point because I'm gonna touch back on that point. Okay. So Bama loses a close game against a really good team, a team that's going to a bowl game, a team that's ranked, I believe, in the final rankings of the college football playoff, right? Okay, so they then, after that, put Georgia at number 1. A Georgia team who at that point, their best win may have been against a Clemson team, which may be their worst team in about 10 years. I don't know if they had played Kentucky or maybe Arkansas at the time, but let's be real. I mean, Kentucky was, Kentucky.
Hey, at the time, I believe Kentucky was a top 10 team. That was a top 10 matchup when they played. Kentucky was undefeated. Those were the only 2 undefeated teams in the SEC when they played, if I'm not mistaken.
You ever think that they? No, never mind. Okay, I'll give you that. Whatever. So they beat up on Kentucky, who we then saw fizzled out towards the end of the season. Were all right, So then you could say that outside of maybe that Kentucky game, the biggest test this Georgia team really faced was the only team to hold the number 1 ranking in the nation, in Bama, right? So you would think that a complete resume solidifier to not only your undefeated season, but validation because you're in the weak part of the SEC. Because remember that point I told you to hold on to? We're going back to it. Every team in SEC West made a bowl game?
That is me pinning your point.
So every team in the SEC West made a bowl game. And Bama lost to only 1 on the road. Georgia's in the SEC least, the NFC East version of the SEC.
We're going to talk about NFC East later because I got something for you and all these NFC East haters. We're going to get to that later. I got something for y'all ass. Keep going.
So I'm just saying, if half your schedule is beaten up on the Vanderbilts of the world, and then the one time you got to play a big dog that's been at the table, and this is the team that's supposed to do it, you're not even allowing a touchdown per game. And you give up 41 of them things.
Woo!
What the hell have we been watching for the last 6 weeks, yo? It's like, you should have been beating that. You've been beating the hell out of these teams to play Bama. Then you play Bama and you get run out the building. So you have no conference championship, and your best win is against either Clemson or Kentucky.
And remember, they beat Arkansas. Arkansas was barely top 25. I think Arkansas was like in the high 20s.
Okay.
Well, yeah, the low 20s. So who do you think should replace Georgia?
Notre Dame.
No.
Notre Dame. It should have been, first off, they got the seedings wrong because I believe Cincinnati went down a ranking.
They were 4. They've always been 4.
Whatever. It should have been Bama, Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame.
No, absolutely not. Notre Dame lost to Cincinnati.
I just don't think there's real. What's the validation in allowing? My thing is, okay, if you're putting Notre Dame's resume up against Georgia, you're looking at 2 1-loss teams, neither without a conference championship.
At least Georgia made it to the conference championship. That has to count for it. That gives me an edge over someone who doesn't even play in the conference championship
They didn't
game.
show up about the third quarter. Stop it.
Let's look at Notre Dame.
Notre Dame and Georgia were both off on Saturday. Only one just had to do a little workout before they got to sit on the couch, which was Georgia.
See.
Stop it. Cincinnati. Notre Dame played Cincinnati, and that's the only loss on their resume. So at that, if your only loss is against a conference champion.
All right. So I'm going to read off Notre Dame's opponent. You tell me the signature win. Florida State in overtime, Toledo, Purdue, Wisconsin, Virginia Tech, USC, UNC, Navy, Virginia, Georgia Tech, Stanford. What am I impressed with? The one game that you had that was hard, you lost at home to Cincinnati.
But I think some of the games that they won were on the road. Some of those games were they probably weren't against ranked teams, but they were probably against very good teams on the road. I know. So
you think rolling into Blacksburg and Charlottesville and beating those teams is something to wow.
I won't maybe referring to those two, but it's hilarious that they came into both Virginia schools and beat both of them. So shame on us. So whatever. My point here is just that I think when you compare resumes, the resumes are very similar. Outside of that, though, we got the matchups. We got the 4: Bama, Michigan, Georgia, Cincinnati. Who do you think is the national championship game? Bama, Georgia?
Say what?
Bama, Georgia?
Bama, Georgia. That's how this has to – the game I'm most interested in. I'm interested in Cincinnati because you've never seen a non-Power 5 school. Shout out Cincinnati. Like, legitimately, everything had to break their way for this to happen. Because I have a feeling if Oklahoma State would have beat Baylor, the committee would have said, well, sorry, Cincinnati, and put in a 1-loss Oklahoma State. So shout out to Oklahoma State. Like, Cincinnati were like 3 inches away from that making it.
You don't think so? No. Honestly, if Oklahoma State would have won, I'm going to be honest with you, Georgia couldn't have gotten in. Because there's no way you could, you cannot. They couldn't have gotten on national TV and tried to explain to people how this team that was ranked 4th, who won their conference with 1 loss, that you had ranked 4th, had literally did everything that they were supposed to do and won. You couldn't have justified taking them out.
Oh, yes, you could have.
For what?
Strict schedule. There's a reason the committee put them at 4th to begin with.
A 1-loss Georgia team does not get in against a 1-loss Oklahoma State and a 1-loss Cincinnati team. No, an undefeated.
Really? Georgia can say we beat a ranked Arkansas and a ranked Kentucky team. What can Cincinnati and Oklahoma State say to that?
I won my conference. There's power in that. There's power in that.
The committee does not respect non-Power 5 schools. We know that. They didn't respect UCF. They barely respect Cincinnati. Like, they don't respect non-Power 5 schools.
They were, but I'm saying coming into that week, they were number 4 undefeated.
Yeah.
So they were in as of then. You can't take me out because one team lost. No, they didn't win their conference. And that's we have that. We're undefeated. We didn't lose. And we have a conference championship over you.
UCF had the same argument like 2 years ago. And the committee was like,
But hey, at a certain point, the camel's back's got to break, and I think this Cincinnati team was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, we can't keep them out. Okay, so let's put this Georgia team in, and I'm gonna be honest with you, my national championship game, that can't happen. Okay, that can't happen.
You can put John Harbaugh against Cincinnati.
That can't happen. What I thought was about to happen, that can't happen. So I'm gonna go Bama, Michigan.
Bama, Michigan? I'll take that. I really want to root for Cincinnati, but as a fan, you might be too young, but 2007, 2008, the Hawaii team, Colt Brennan, was just lighting it up, and then they got to play Georgia in the Peach Bowl, and Georgia ate Colt Brennan alive. And that's when I learned the difference between the SEC and the other divisions in the country. in non-Power 5 schools.
I'm gonna say this. I do think Michigan will beat Georgia.
Okay.
Man, Michigan against Bama though.
It's gonna be ugly. That joke gonna be
Yo,
ugly.
I don't want to see I said this boy. Yo, is that Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, it's Jim Harbaugh.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you like this: Jim Harbaugh gets to the national championship game and gets smoked by Bama. He gonna be an NFL head coach next year. So let's go into our guy John's question. So
Yes.
John asked us a little bit about a lineup. He says Lamar Jackson, Aaron Jones, I believe, or Nick Chubb, Johnson.
Is that David Johnson?
Hollywood Brown, Kittle, Elijah Moore.
As a guy who's had Nick Chubb all year, go ahead, D.
Don't start David Johnson. If that's an option, like Nick Chubb and Aaron Jones will do you fine.
Yes.
Do not start David Johnson at all. Should be Lamar, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones. Oh,
Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. Okay.
Oh, okay. Lamar, Aaron Jones, or Nick Chubb, Deontay Johnson, Hollywood Brown, George Kittle, Elijah Moore. We play the Bears. The Browns play the Ravens.
Dog, do not trust any receiver that has Big Ben thrown to them. You can throw Deontay Johnson out of the mix. Big Ben is washed.
Now, Deontay Johnson, he's their number one receiver.
Hey, dog. Have you seen Big Ben's arm?
I think what it sounds like is he needs a choice of running back because if I'm looking at his lineup, he has two wide receivers, a tight end, and that's his flex. Odell's
on the bench. Oh, so I faced that conundrum this weekend. I would have lost anyway, but it's between Ayuk and Odell, and I picked Ayuk, and I regret that decision because Odell scored. So I'd go. It looks like the Rams are trying to get Odell involved. I'd start Odell over Deontay Johnson.
What about Nick Chubb over Aaron Jones?
I don't know because I've had Nick Chubb all year and he's been okay. I didn't. You know how the Packers use Aaron Jones better than I do.
Yeah, we got AJ Dillon in the mix too. They both have like a counter punch that's pretty good. I would actually go Nick Chubb. No, actually, I would go Aaron Jones. I think the Bears defense is maybe a little bit more susceptible to the run than the Ravens will be. I think the Ravens are going to be a little bit more keen on maybe trying to stop the run.
I will say that the Rams do play the Cardinals, and Budda Baker does exist. I don't know, but the Rams have so many weapons. You have to guard Cooper Kupp. You got Odell. I don't know. I would take the chance on Odell over Deontay Johnson.
Speaking of a little bit of NFL, so thank you, John, for getting us there. Yesterday, the Patriots went to Buffalo and beat the Bills 14-10 on Monday Night Football, giving them the number one seed in the AFC. Now, some people, hello, Steve Mix, called that the Patriots would be in this position in the preseason. So, my question to you, Matthew, is where does this win from the Patriots leave the AFC landscape going down the stretch of the regular season? We have about a month left.
So I did an exercise at work today. Instead of working, I looked at the top five.
There's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. So I looked at the AFC, like the standings, and I wrote down all of their games. And the only team that I can see actually threatening the Patriots for that one seed are the Titans. Like the Titans have the Jags, the Steelers, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and Houston left. I think they might drop the one to Miami, but I think they can go on a bit of a run. The Patriots, listen to the Patriots schedule. They have the Colts, the Bills again, the Jags, and the Dolphins. That's not a bad way to end out the year, especially the way they've been playing.
But they play some teams, though. It's gonna be when they play the Colts, the Patriots.
They play the Colts. They play the Colts. They play the Bills again at home, the Jaguars, and they play the Dolphins.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If the Patriots shut down Jonathan Taylor, it's gonna get spooky because then it's like, okay, no,
Oh,
like,
then it's it. That's it.
it's legit. It's like, yo, it's like nobody doing it. Nobody doing it on them. If
Yeah,
like if you can't, like then it's like, okay, nobody can.
yeah. If they shut down Jonathan Taylor, we might be saying that Super Bowl word. Like we might be talking championship because Jonathan Taylor is MVP right now.
Yeah, but then I love Bill Belichick. I actually kind of like the Patriots, but then if they get that good, then I'm like, nah, time out. Y'all can't be this good because it's like, nah, because like,
Nah.
yo, that's not a defense you want to play anybody. I'd rather have a shootout with Patrick Mahomes have to try to game plan to play Bill Belichick. Yo, it's crazy when you think about it, yo. My man went into Buffalo, and I didn't know a lot about this game. I don't live in New York, obviously. So I had no idea about this weather. So then when like you start hearing the pregame and then you're like, no, it's like 45 mile per hour wind and it's snowing. You like, oh. First off, fam, that's hell. Like I wouldn't want to have to stand out there for that.
Nope.
Shout out to y'all. Then on top of that, then you're like, yo, this dude Bill Belichick just was like, yo, let me just watch Georgia Tech's game film and let me just do some shit. Let me do some shit like they would do. Let me do some shit like they would. Fam, I know everyone was mad. Like defensive, no, you can see it in some like defensive players like interviews. Those guys are a little salty. And I'm like, first off, I'm like, yo, why are y'all so salty? And I thought about it. Nah, yeah, I'd be a little salty too. It's like, yo, at a certain point, you knew what they was doing. Yep. And you still couldn't stop
it. So one more thing, but two things. People who watched that game last night and that weather and like, this is football weather, this is great. No, it's not. It's atrocious football. Shut up. It's not the 60s. Like it was terrible to watch. I barely watched it.
Yo, first off, guys, like you see as many spread offenses you've seen in the league. You know, sit here and say this is football weather. No, it is like no. Yo, I love a great running play as much as the next guy. But guys, we are in 2021 and offenses are very advanced right now. Some offenses come to the huddle with like 2 or 3 plays. So like we are much beyond the wing T offense.
Yes. Go ahead. It was not cute. And then the second thing, so like I said, I sat down and wrote down all the schedules. Dog, listen to the Ravens schedule. They're at Cleveland. They play Green Bay. At Cincinnati, they play the Rams, and then they close with the Steelers. Dog, the Ravens might not make the playoffs.
It's nasty. That's a nasty schedule. It's a nasty schedule.
If they get through this,
it's a nasty schedule. No wonder they were at top of the AFC. They had the front load. They were front heavy. All their in front.
I don't care if they make it in as the final seed. If the Ravens make the playoffs, that schedule, Lamar's MVP. I don't care what Jonathan Taylor does. I don't care what Brady does.
Further, if they retake the number 1 seed with that schedule, now they become the team where I'm like, all right, now hold on, yo. It's like hold on now. And some of these games, like the Pittsburgh game, the Miami game, they shouldn't won. They should have won. They're going to be bigger losses now because it's like, yo. When you got to play the Rams and the Packers, and you got the Bengals again, who aren't an easy team, and you do have the Steelers again. Like it's tough teams.
It's tough.
I wish Kyle was here. We can chat on what we think about this Bears Packers game. But in the meantime, who do you think is your takeaway is the biggest winner of this week 13 that just ended?
So I cheated. I have 2 winners. The first winner are the Detroit Lions because, of course, congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
You will go 0-17. The second winner for me is the Washington football team. They've won 4 in a row, and they're now the 6th seed. And this is going to go back to a point that I pinned earlier. The NFC East has an opportunity to put 3 teams in the playoff. Y'all talk all this shit about us being the NFC least. And here we are. The Eagles are 1 game behind the 49ers from taking that last playoff seed. So that'd be the Cowboys, the Washington football team, and the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. That can happen. And when that does happen, this NFC least stuff, it is dead. I don't care about the NFC West. I don't care about the NFC North. I don't care about the NFC South. It is as it should be.
That sound good. Now I'm about to come in here. I'm about to get you right real quick. First off, most of y'all haven't even played each other. So this
Yes.
whole y'all aren't putting 3 teams in the playoffs because y'all are gonna have to fight each other, and y'all all stink outside of the Cowboys. Maybe the Eagles. Maybe. Depends on what day of the week it is. Yeah, you're not really that good. Respect Houston fans because you guys have been fighting every game you've been in, but we know the truth about that team. We know the truth about that team and the Giants, guys.
I can't say anything about the Giants because we lost to the
Ain't
Giants.
nothing to say about it. So back to my original point. Y'all are gonna beat up on each other, and what's really gonna happen is the Cowboys are gonna come out because they're the best team in that division. I think we both know that. The Eagles are going to be like 2 games out from the playoffs, but they're going to give their fans a reason to think they're going to win. They're probably going to go into week 17, probably in playoff contention, like a game out, and then lose their final game. The football team, I think it's only a matter of time. I think it's only a matter
I'm
of time.
sticking to my guns. The Philadelphia Eagles will make the playoffs. They will grab that last seed.
Out of all the wins from week 13, I got 2 winners. I'm with you on the Detroit Lions. Shout out to the Detroit Lions because, again, as I say, as a Green Bay fan, I don't know. And Jay, we're going to come back to your question very quickly. As a Green Bay fan, I don't know if I should really feel bad for the Lions.
No.
You won a game. Shout out to the Detroit Lions. My second biggest winner was the Los Angeles Chargers. That was a big win.
Yes, it
They were
was.
able to hold on to it. That would have been like a Chargers-esque game if you've seen Chargers games in the past where they just would have completely fumbled it, but they held on to it, pulled away in the second half with defense. Justin Herbert, man, that's my guy. I like him. He's becoming Jay Herbo, as I like to call him.
Oh, God.
Jay Herbo. That's my dog. Nah, for real. Nah. You laughing, but like, yo, Justin. That's my dog. Shout out to Justin Herbert, Jay Herbo. Y'all look, y'all draft alerts and expertise told me he was all right coming out of college because he played at Oregon. And he is that dude. Like, no. Like some of the throws, dog, like he be making, I'm like, he don't even put a lot of effort in it. He should be like,
dog. Did you see? I think it was a bootleg to the right. Herbert plants his feet, throws it to his left, all the way across the field on a rope to Guyton. It had to go 60 yards. Like, who can do that? And I think who called that game? Whoever called the game was like, was it who? God, it's that black dude. Anyway, like teams don't have that play in the offense because you don't have a quarterback who can make that throw.
He said exactly that. No, I didn't.
Yeah, like a lot of teams don't have.
Might have been. Right. It's the guy from Madden.
He
was right. It's like, yo, you can't make that throw. Like, you shouldn't be able to make that throw.
And he made it.
Like, your offensive coordinator is yelling at you, like, yo, don't do that. But like, now they gotta play for him because he can make that throw. Shout out to Jay Herbo, dog. He's in my top 5 like favorite players. Aaron and Tom are 2 favorite players. Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, and then Jay Herbo. I like Jay Herbo. Yeah. All right, let's switch a little gears. Actually, no. Jay asked this: is Jalen Hurts starter for Philly next year?
So here is my stance on Jalen Hurts, and Minshew is not better than Hurts. They played the Jets. I am willing to ride with Jalen Hurts for one more year if we cannot get Russell Wilson. Like, if we have an opportunity to get our hands on Russell Wilson, trade those first 3 picks. But if not, I am perfectly okay with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has done enough for me to give him another year. But if Russell Wilson is out in those streets and you can get your hands on Russell Wilson, come on, dog. You should have been an Eagle 12 years ago, and it didn't happen.
What are we talking about?
Dog, Russ wants out. And there's no team that can give more to get Russ than us. We got 3 first-round picks, and we got a second, and we got a couple 3s and 4s, and we got picks next year. We got a buffet for Russell. Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, top 5 offensive line in the NFL. Woo! Skip.
You're leaving out the point. They're leaving out the point where, like, the Eagles, no, the Seahawks aren't going to trade to a team within its own conference. You forget about that. especially a quarterback.
They might.
No, they don't do that.
If they're rebuilding, does it matter? Like, you're not going to see us.
They traded Matthew Stafford to the Rams, so who knows? I will say this. Shame on you for jumping off of the Jalen Hurts train.
I'm on the Jalen Hurts train. I'm just saying, if you can get a top 5 quarterback with 5 or 6 years left, then sign me up.
But you have a good young quarterback on a rookie deal. Build around him and make that team better. Don't give up half the farm to go get Russ when Russ can't even throw to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett in them because he got half a hand out there. Tell you right now,
is not good.
Jay, to answer your question, yes, he is the starter for Philly next year because I think what Nick Sirianni and this front office is going to realize is that they can build around this quarterback. They have a good team. They have a decent defense. Maybe, if anything, you maybe get him another offensive player, maybe to take the top off the defense if you don't have one, or maybe you build more on that offensive line, or maybe you go defense. The Eagles, they're not bad. They're just not good either.
The Eagles are making the playoffs. And Jay, when we see you bum ass Giants in 3 weeks, we dropping 40. 40.
Yo, don't get on the airwaves bragging about beating the Giants.
I'm just saying 40.
And on top of that, did the Giants beat the Eagles? Yo, let's go to the NBA. No. I'm not gonna let you do this because you can't even talk. Your team already lost. Let's go to the NBA. Do you hear the people? This is what it's like knowing Eagles fans. You think I'm like, yo, I'm surprised the Eagles and the Giants haven't played. No, they did play. Y'all lost.
40.
So sources are saying Dame Lillard wants to play with Ben Simmons. Do you think this is real or fake?
So here's my thoughts on Dame Lillard. Shams doesn't pull stuff out of midair. Like, someone is feeding this information to Shams, and I'm going to go out on a very strong limb. It's probably someone from Dame Lillard's camp. The thing about Dame Lillard is he has built this whole brand off not running from the grind, and I don't want to play for a super team. So now he's stuck on a sorry team, and there's no way out. Like, he's trying to find a back channel to get out instead of saying, hey, man, it's time for me to go. And that's his fault. He ridiculed Paul George for joining the Clippers and running from the grind. Like, he's been bashing super teams. He's rapping about he'll never leave Portland. All right, dog, this is what you get. You get a banged-up Jurgic, and you get C.J. McCollum. No offense to C.J., because I think C.J. in Philly would be great. But this is what you get, dog. Like, all that talking, the whole brand has been built on, I'm not running from anything. I'm going to stay here till I retire. All right? Then you just going to stay in Portland until you retire.
Well, I mean, it's funny because on this episode 41,
yes,
you criticized Dame for taking the Dirk route.
I wouldn't say, but Dirk wasn't vocal about staying, right? He just stayed. Like, Dame has made, like, Dirk never got out in these streets and was like, I'll never join a super team. He's like, I love Dallas. I'm going to stay in Dallas, right?
In Dame's defense, though, every time he's been forced to have to come out and say that. He's been asked, or people have tweeted at him, yo, Dame, when you leave and yada, yada, yada. And he's like, yo, no, I love it here in Portland. This is my home to stay. He puts in his music to let people know this is my home to stay. Some say if asked, would likely do the same. To that, you say what?
To that, I say Dirk did not build his brand off loyalty. Dirk was just loyal. If you got to tell me how loyal you are, how loyal are you really? That's Dame's whole gimmick. That's his whole brand.
Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is you're saying that Dirk talks it. No, Dirk walks it but doesn't talk it. I'm saying Dame talks it and walks it. So what's the issue?
But I think Dame. So you think Shams is making this up?
I don't think Dame's leaving Portland.
Well, we'll find
by his own power, though. By his own power.
You think Portland's going to trade him without saying anything to him? Like if Dame walked in the front office and was like, "I don't want to go anywhere," you think the front office would be like, "Sorry, we're gonna get Ben." Like, do you think that would happen? Because I think Dame has more power in that organization than maybe we're leading on to.
Yes, but I do think what could happen is Dame say, but he's so vocal about how they need to fix things in the organization that they're like, "Yo, we don't want to do this with you anymore. We'd
That
rather rebuild." And
that would be stupid. Because how many times are you going to get a superstar fall in your lap? Like Dame fell in there.
maybe if you got a superstar who hasn't shown up to play with his team all season, who's just sitting out, maybe you make a swap for a swap.
You want Ben Simmons to be the leader of your team?
Maybe it's a good rebuild.
I suppose. I'll say. I don't know, man. I don't think. Oh, I got it. So Dame is eligible to sign a supermax this summer. That'll keep him in Portland until like 2025, 2026. We'll see then. I don't think he gets traded now. We'll see when he's up for that supermax where his heart is at.
So if Dame was to get this wish though of playing with playing with Ben Simmons, not CJ McCollum, playing with Ben Simmons, do you think this team could contend for a championship?
No.
Me either.
I don't think you can't win a championship if Ben Simmons is your second best player.
Me either. It's like I don't know where you guys are going to go there, but whatever.
So you're the Pelicans.
Yo, let's get into the third portion of our segment where we just so let's start with our weekly fantasy football chat, people. So as you all know, me and Danny are in a fantasy football league together, 10-team PPR league. 6 teams make the playoffs, 2 buys. So Danny and myself are in the same division. I believe it's the NFC.
Yep.
Danny came into last week only 1 game behind myself and another team who is tied for first place. All Danny had to do was win his matchup and then hope that one or both of the division leaders lost. So then it could be a 3-way tie and come down the points scored. Unfortunately, it didn't even have to come to that because Danny did not win his matchup. And it is official. The 6 playoff teams are locked in. It's still a battle, though, in our division to see who takes the division crown and who gets the 6th seed. I'm currently the division leader right now at 7-6 with a big win last week. It's going to get unnoticed because nobody wants to talk about it, but I beat a really good team. It's whatever. Danny, it's been another great year. We got to get you in the playoffs one of these years, man. You're 0 for 2. You're 0 for.
Derek Carr has been flirting with top 10 fantasy production all year. All year. That's why he's been on my week.
You started him to not play good.
All year, flirting with top 10. That's why I kept him on my bench. Because when Aaron Rodgers had a bye week, I knew that Derek Carr would give me 300 yards and 2 tutties, right? Like, I knew Derek was going to. This mother last week gave me like 4 points.
Yeah. He was due for one of them.
Derek, I'm so angry because that was the difference.
It's a duality of people's seasons. Like, they'll go through, and you just got to catch them when they're on the uptrend and not when they're on the downtrend.
Like, if Derek Carr, I lost by 16 points. Like, if Derek Carr had did what he was supposed to do, it would have been a lot closer than that. I might have won if Derek Carr did what he was supposed to do, what he's been doing all year. And that is frustrating because the gentleman that I needed to lose, Ice Davis, he lost. So he and I would have been tied for that final playoff spot. And then I don't know the tiebreaker. You said points scored. I think he scored more points than me.
Did you beat him earlier in the season?
I think I did. he's on a 4-game losing streak, and I'm pretty sure one of those L's are to me. But I can confirm.
No, he beat you.
He beat me, so I wouldn't have made it anyway.
Well, yeah, you guys would have actually no. You guys play this week.
Oh, so this week would have been for the final playoff spot. No, the playoffs start this week.
No, this week would have been for the final playoff spot. So you guys would have played each other. But he needs to win. He needs to win, and I need to he needs to finish with the same record as me. Yeah, he needs to finish with the same record as me to then go to points, and he has to outscore me. So he has to have the same record as me and outscore me to get the 2 seed. Since I won the matchup, all I have to do is win. Since I have a better record, all I have to do is win or outscore him.
Derek Carr, you just had to do your job. That's it, man. That's all you had to do. That's it. And you did.
Your question for you.
Yes.
Better hire Britton Venables at Oklahoma, Mario Cristobal at Miami, or Brent Pry for Virginia Tech?
I'm saying Venables to OU, and I'll also say that the business of college football is just as dirty as politics, drug dealing, and prostitution. Like, dog, these coaches.
Yo, it's wild to me because I was looking at it, I was like, Mario Cristobal, what the fuck are you doing, dog? No way do you leave a 10-win team for a program that's a shell of itself.
Miami will never return to prominence as long as they
Why don't people get that? Why do people not get that? You guys will never see the U again.
As long as they're sponsored by Adidas. Hey, dog, you find me in Adidas school that's thriving. Find me in Adidas school that's thriving.
Man. Yo, what did you think of John Harbaugh going for 2 to win the game because of his injuries to his corners against the Steelers?
Doesn't build much confidence because you got to roll with them corners for the rest of the year because Marlon Humphrey is out with a torn pec. That doesn't put much confidence in me.
Oh my gosh. Yo, that's a great point. I didn't even think about I'm sitting here like, no, that's ballsy. You do it. You go for the win. Like, especially if your corners are out. But then I didn't think about it. It's like, yo, if I'm a young corner, it's like, yo, I'm supposed to go out there and he still didn't trust me. So what does that really say?
He decided to lose the game because he
could have kicked the field goal.
And went to overtime.
He probably was like, "Yo, we just need to get out of here." But if you look back on their play calling history, they've been an aggressive team, so it's not really unexpected either.
Imagine being scared of Ben Roethlisberger.
You got to, especially when he get the point in the sky. You don't know what he's talking to. Who you talking? Who are you talking to? Last one. All right. Jake Paul is set to now have a rematch with Tyron Woodley after his original matchup with Tyson Fury's brother was canceled because his brother withdrew. So now Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley have a second matchup. Who do you think wins this rematch?
Yo, can someone please knock Jake Paul out so we can end this? Please. Like, not only does the culture need this, but America needs this. The sport of boxing needs this. Yo, someone knock this over with.
Oh man. Yo, I'm gonna say it like this. If Jake Paul wins this boxing match, this rematch, this is the white man telling us we will never be or never get this sport back ever again. And it is ever lock for the whites.
I'll take it a step further. If Jake Paul wins this fight, Black History Month is canceled.
we gotta cancel the whole month. We gotta
and if he not
Tyron Woodley, if you fight Jake Paul, then we move in Black History Month to February. We moving it to the 33rd of February. It's gonna be Black History Day.
Dog. And if he knocks him out, we canceling Juneteenth. We ain't free no more. Free.
Yo, nah, Jake Paul, don't go out. Nah, Tyron Woodley, don't go out here and get knocked out by Jake Paul. And we
Please
got a
don't.
cute team. Nah, dog, you better Tyron Woodley handle your business.
Hey, dog,
Handle,
burlap is not my color.
handle your business, Tyron Woodley. Hey man, let the people know where they can find you, dog. Let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at MattAds14. You can also follow the show on Instagram and Twitter. Speak on _pod. Putting content up all the time. Starting to get a lot of fan engagement. Hit to give us a follow. You won't be disappointed.
Don't be afraid to give us a follow. Follow your boy at Los D Mix, LOSDEEMIX. I came out here and hit y'all with some hoop earrings on the camera. Look, I'm looking clean for the folks that can see me, for the folks that's peeped in. Just know, you know, I'm looking good right now. Make sure y'all trying to hop in and tuning in, join us on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Holla at us. We chatting. Y'all hear the engagement in the pod as well. Make sure y'all also giving a follow to the Speak On It Instagram and the Speak On It Twitter. You already know, man. Danny, as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you, man. We chatting it up. We speaking on some things. Tyron Woodley, please handle your business against Jake Paul. We're gonna revisit this conversation when that fight happens.
Yes.
So we're gonna have that fight. But until then, people, make sure you go out here, make sure you do your thing, and make sure you speak up, because that's the only way to go and get your bucks up.
Shout out to Going for Two.
Going for Two. You already know the love.
Peace.